Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the October book discussion of The Poppy Fields by Nikki Erlick. I'm Elise. I'm the host of Libronauts Book Club. We are a science fiction book club. We read a variety of science fiction subgenres. And yeah, we have live shows most months out of the year. Previous years, we have skipped November and December, but actually starting next month, we're going to do our first buddy read month. So there will still be a book selection. We're just not going to do a live show instead of skipping the month altogether. So I will talk more about that at the end. But before we jump into it, I want to introduce Layna of Layna's Bookshelf. She's my co-host this month. Layna, do you want to go ahead and do an introduction? Tell us about yourself, your channel, where we can find you, what kind of books you like to read.
Yeah, my name is Layna and my channel is Layna's Bookshelf, and that is also my Instagram handle. And I usually read mainly thrillers, but I also read a good bit of historical fiction. And I typically don't read a whole lot of sci-fi, which is why I was really excited for this one. But I mean, we'll get into all of that here soon. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. I love book discussions and watching them and participating in them when I can, and even watching them if I haven't read the book. So yeah, excited to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so if there is anyone in the chat, go ahead and let us know if you read the book and what you rated it. We do have some pretty general questions to go over the book, so you guys can answer along with us as we're discussing. While we're doing that, Layna, I totally forgot to ask you this hi. I totally forgot to ask you this backstage, but did you want to give a spoiler-free synopsis, or do you want me to?
Oh, sure, I can. Well, so the way this book was marketed, I'll start off with that, is a science experiment where people can go to this facility and sleep in California. Basically, they can sleep for like a month, 2 months, 3 months, however long it takes. And the idea is to help them with their grief after losing a loved one. So that's basically the way it's pitched. That's the way it's marketed. So yeah. I mean, I feel like that's all I can say without being too spoily.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love how you're like, this is how it was pitched because it kind of turned out quite a bit differently than I expected.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll certainly get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, welcome back. DNF the book, second book from this author that I DNF within the first few chapters. So I think she's just not for me. Yeah, I have some similar thoughts that I will share about this author. Yeah, that's kind of a struggle. Layna, have you read from this author before?
Yes, I read her first novel, The Measure, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, which is why I was really excited for this one. And yeah. So yes, I did. I read the first one, really enjoyed it, liked the writing style, didn't feel like there was too many characters. And so I was excited for this one. And it seemed to have like a similar vibe from initial, synopsis. But yeah.
Yeah, I also read The Measure. I think these are the only 2 books that the author has written.
Yeah, The Measure was her debut.
Yeah. I think I can't remember. It was like 2 or 2.5 stars. I didn't love it. Which is kind of surprising because I put off reading it for so long just because of the hype surrounding it. So obviously I was like expecting a lot. I was kind of expecting to love it, and I just really didn't. And I had similar thoughts about this one. So definitely, I think the author's writing style, it's a little more character driven and a little more literary than what I like, especially with this genre, because like, yes, it's speculative, which I consider to be a subgenre of science fiction. And I feel like there definitely were more science fiction aspects in this one than there were in The Measure. But yeah, not quite to the level that I like.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I would say if you did like The Measure, you probably would like this one because it's got a very similar vibe, similar writing style. So the author definitely has like a very, um, I don't want to say like unique, but like a very identifiable voice. So it's like it's very easy to tell that those two books were written by the same person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
Definitely a genre girly. Yep. Of course, my face is getting all red now. I don't usually drink a glass of wine, but it's been a week, and today's actually Friday. I took tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday off.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm very excited for a long weekend. So I'm enjoying a glass of wine, but it always turns my cheeks very red. So sorry about that. Okay, so what are 3 words that you would use to describe this book?
Yeah, so the 3 words I would use to describe this book would be slow,
Mm-hmm.
grief,
Mm-hmm.
and then this one's kind of hyphenated, so maybe I'm cheating, but like character driven.
Yeah. Yep, I would agree. Yeah, I would say like, and I'm gonna break the rules too. These are not gonna be like one word, but like internal dialogue, because I feel like there was so much like
Yeah.
being inside the mind of the characters to the point where it's like going on 3 pages, and it's like, oh my gosh, nothing has happened. We're just listening to your thoughts on this subject.
Yeah.
I would say very mild, just because there's not a lot of action. There's a couple things that kind of happen that are almost surprising or almost a twist, but not like super exciting. So yeah, internal dialogue, mild. And then the last one, I don't know, people. Just people. I just feel like
Lots of people.
yeah, and it's like, which seems so silly and obvious, but like people are really kind of the focus of this book, and like an experience that people, pretty much everybody, experiences at one point in their life. So maybe humanity would be a better word than people. But
Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah. So what were your overall thoughts without giving your final rating? Because we'll talk about that at the end, but overall thoughts.
My overall thoughts are that her writing style is pretty easy to follow. I don't mind it. While I didn't feel like there was too many characters in The Measure, I felt like there was too many characters in this one, and characters that weren't actually characters. You know, like there was transcripts from people who were applying to sleep at the fields, and then we never heard from them again. And I kept thinking when they brought in a new transcript, I kept thinking, okay, this is going to be from one of the characters, but they weren't. A lot of times they were just different people, like just random various people. But so then that was a little bit confusing. So I was like, okay, are we going to see this person again? Do they, do we need to care about this person? Do we need to pay attention to any of this? And then like I became really annoyed with the teenager. What was her name? Sky, I think. She really annoyed me. And I felt like she was not needed. I felt like she was a very useless character, and didn't really add, like, the story would have not changed at all without her. I felt like she was kind of annoying and didn't need to be there. But I was disappointed that there wasn't more about the fields, like more at the fields themselves. It was all of this build up to the fields and this kind of idea of the fields. And then all these people kind of end up together. They meet each other in an airport, which is kind of a little bit unrealistic, like for all of these people to happen to be going to the same place. I mean, I guess they were all on the same flight, but still, it just, I don't know, the way it happened and the way they all got together felt a little bit odd. And then they're driving across the country, and I kept being like, all right, well, when are we getting there? When are we getting there? And then I looked and I realized that it was 80% of the way through the book, and we still weren't at the poppy fields yet. So I was a little disappointed in the marketing of this book, because if it's marketing, like I was expecting almost like Hawkins style, like, that whatever that place is called. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but you know what I'm talking about, like this ominous facility where all of these things are happening and you're not sure if it's sinister or not. And that's what I was expecting, and that's what I was hoping for. but that, I mean, it was basically a road trip book about people grieving and trying to live with their grief of different varieties.
Yeah.
Which I don't love books about grief. I know some people like really do. I'm not one that does. I think I'm an empath, and some of it was like a little bit heavy for me.
Mhm.
Um, but overall, it just felt like very average and not at all what I was expecting coming out of a book like The Measure that I loved so much and that was so thought-provoking and gave so many sides to the same argument.
Mhm.
Like I feel like at the end you really didn't know which side Nikki Erlick fell on. You know, she did a really good job of staying very neutral as the author and just providing like, you know, this is a way that it could have happened or this is what could happen.
Mhm.
And with this, I didn't feel that as much. I don't know. It just didn't feel like as thought-provoking as
Mhm.
the other one. It was just kind of more cut and dry, and, it didn't really feel very science fiction-y to me. Like, I feel like that's something to me, science fiction is something that is not able to happen in our world, or at least in this current, you know, generation of our world, and
Mhm.
the poppy fields definitely seem like I mean, it seems like something that absolutely could happen next year. You know, it doesn't seem that out of the realm of possibility as far as where we are in science. And so I
Mhm.
think that was something you know, like The Measure, there was the aspect of mystery and you don't know where these boxes are coming from, things like this. But
Mhm.
there really wasn't anything that couldn't happen. You know, you put somebody to sleep, they sleep for a month, they go through therapy and, you know, which honestly, I mean, sounds kind of great to me. I know I know that's a question later, but I think there's a lot of people that a coping skill is sleeping, and
Mhm.
that was initially why I was so intrigued by this book because that is a main coping skill for me. I
Mhm.
am somebody who has a pretty intense case of anxiety and panic disorder,
Mhm.
and sleeping is one of my main ways that I cope with things, and it's how I heal myself and heal my mind. So
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, sign me up. But you know, I was thinking that as I went through it, they were going to give me, you know, like, well, here's a reason why this may not be something you would want to do, or here, you
Mhm.
know, like looking at both arguments, but there really wasn't an argument.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what I was expecting. And so I think even though I tried to go into this book with low expectations, I think I still did after really enjoying her first book and expecting something more along those lines.
Mhm.
I didn't, I mean, I didn't hate the book by any means. It just really wasn't what I was expecting. And I don't think it was marketed correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like that you kind of brought up the facility, like the Hawkins facility. I'm assuming you were talking about like Stranger Things,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Yeah, that's definitely kind of along the lines I was going for as well. Just looking for that creepy, atmospheric, like, what is this place? What really is going on here? And we don't get that at all. We don't actually get many answers.
Yeah. And when they get there to the fields, I was like, all right, we're going to have all this description and it's going to, and it's like, yep, here's these people sleeping. Here's
Mhm.
my office.
Yep. And they're wearing red and they look like a field of poppies, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, One thing that I did, so you brought up like the transcripts, the interviews. That was actually something that I did kind of like about this book. And I think that kind of plays into the science fiction aspect of it a little bit because a lot of other sci-fis will do that, especially if there's something kind of mysterious or technology based. And I do like that because it kind of gives us an added point of view without having to add an additional character. Um, so I did like that, and it kind of broke up the story a little bit. Um, the cross country road trip, I don't know. I like the concept of those. I don't think I've ever read a book where I actually ended up enjoying it. Um, because it's either a little silly or pointless or it just I don't know. I would have liked to see a quicker trip to the
Mhm.
poppy fields and then a larger chunk of the book actually taking place there. Um, and then, oh, what was the other thing? Oh, Sky. I agree. She was kind of annoying, like a very like free spirited, which is honestly kind of such a privilege, like to be so young and to have the means to be able to travel
Yeah.
and have new experiences. Like that is such a privilege. So I don't know. She seemed not like, and I love Sedona, and I went to Sedona for the exact reason that she wanted to go to Sedona, but she just irritated me. I think my favorite thing about her, or the most that she really added to the story, was kind of the not epilogue at the end where she's kind of recounting like, oh, we all keep in touch and this is kind of where everyone is at right now based on
Mhm.
recent communications that she's had with them.
Yeah, but even that felt strange. Like I don't know. I mean, I'm a dance teacher. I interact with teenagers a lot, but there's very few teenagers that I'm like, yeah, this is going to be my friend for, like I'm going to keep up with this person years down the road. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. It just felt odd.
Especially because everybody else was like at least in their 30s, if not older.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, like in different phases of their life.
Yeah. Creepily sinister shadow organization is probably the only thing that could have got me. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Like, especially when I realized that the one dude, I think his name was Ray, his
Mhm.
brother like died after
Yeah.
sleeping. So then I was like, oh, is he gonna try and like break in and all this stuff? And then especially when Sky came into the picture, when she was like teaching the other girl to drive.
Mhm.
And then she said when it was like her POV, like just randomly, I feel like her POV didn't happen very much, but she was like, oh, this is a means to an end for me. Like getting her in the car alone is gonna help me on my,
Mhm.
basically like it was a red herring that didn't lead anywhere. And so I was like, okay, does Sky have an ulterior motive? Is she not who she says she is?
Right.
Maybe that's just the thriller reader in me
I was
looking.
just gonna say we were wanting it to be a thriller.
Yeah, but she specifically said something that I was like, oh, okay, is she gonna try and steal the car?
Mhm.
Does she actually know who they are and she's just pretending to not know them? Does she actually know what the poppy fields are? Which was another thing that I thought was strange that she said she didn't know what the poppy fields were. And
Yeah.
that seems strange because I feel like that'd be like in this day and age, like, I don't know, I just think about how inundated we are with current events and things. Like it's kind of hard not to know
Mhm.
things like that, especially if it's being talked about so much on social media and in the news and things like that.
Yeah.
Which is why I thought that she was hiding something, but
Yeah.
she wasn't.
Yeah. It kind of would have been cool if she kind of, especially what you were saying about, oh my goodness, you can probably hear squeaking. He's playing with his toys. Um, about maybe she has an ulterior motive. It would have been kind of cool if she either recognized Ava as being maybe looking like Alice, or something along those lines. Like if she knew
Mhm.
that she was Alice's sister before Ava kind of exposed that to us in
Yeah.
the story, that also would have been cool.
Mhm.
Buddy, you gotta leave me be. Um, so we did kind of talk about this a little bit, but what were some of the science fiction aspects in this book?
I mean, I guess just the science behind sleeping and the concept of sleeping. Um, and the idea that, when you're under this medicated sleep, you can have this like therapy and basically they're like retraining your mind away from grief or to handle grief better. Um, and then I guess through, I guess the science part of that would be like the drugs that they use to be able to have you sleep, but be able to still take care of your basic needs. Because that was I was thinking about all this. And I was like, what about like eating? What about going to the bathroom? What about aging? What about periods? I'm thinking through all of these things, and she does mention most of those, which is something that I appreciate about Nikki Erlick and something that I liked about the measure. Because as soon as I'd be like, well, what about this? She mention it, and so it was the same thing with this. So I do appreciate that. Like she really does think about all aspects of the story that she's telling. And I guess the other sci-fi element would be the side effect that people had coming out of sleep, how some people like were basically numb and like didn't even remember, which they call it a side effect, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the sleep didn't work.
Right.
Like they say they're going to help you heal from your grief.
Mhm.
But then, some of these people wake up and not only do they not feel grief anymore, they don't even really remember or have any like not that they don't remember the person that they were grieving, but like the one girl, she said, I don't remember my grandmother who raised me. Like I remember her, but I don't remember the feeling of, you know, the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And as somebody who my emotions run a lot of my life and I have to try to fight against them to not run my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes that doesn't seem so bad.
Yeah.
To not have to be like constantly fighting with your emotions and, you know, keeping your emotions and your thoughts and intrusive thoughts in check. It's like if the intrusive thoughts just aren't there. But I mean, that's said by someone who's not experiencing it.
Right.
So that definitely was an interesting element
Mm-hmm.
for me, was the side effect. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that kind of added a twist to it.
Yeah.
That I wasn't expecting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like that, oh my gosh, go away. I feel like I'm glad that that was included, because if there had been no side effect, which I feel like honestly affects the people, like the surrounding people, not just the patient that's going to the clinic. Because without that, all of the adversity to this process, it's like, it's frustrating, because it's like, and there's a couple of real life examples, but like, why does it bother you so much what other people are doing with their life?
Right. Yeah.
Like, that is so frustrating. But because there is that side effect, and because, you know, we had that example, I can't remember his name, James or Jamie or something like that. His wife forgot their son. And so he's kind of left to be mourning their son.
Yeah.
Separate from his wife. So he kind of feels all alone in that grief.
Mm-hmm.
So it does affect other people. So I guess I can understand why there would be these groups that are opposed to it and trying to convince people, hey, don't do this. Whereas, like I said, there's other real life examples of people trying to convince people not to do certain things with their own life that literally have no effect on anybody else. So can you please go away? Okay, I'm going to step away for just a second because he's driving me crazy. So one moment, please. I'll be right back. Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Sometimes he's totally chill, and other times he's not. And tonight it's one of the times that he was not.
Yeah.
But yeah, aside from the sleep, there's not really any other, like, it didn't really feel super futuristic. Like, it kind of felt like a medically induced coma with a heavy dose of psychology.
Yeah.
So that was kind of disappointing. I really, really would have loved to see more of, like, we got a little bit of this, but maybe the scientific aspect of Ellis discovering this or coming upon this idea, how it started, like maybe some flashbacks of the very beginning of this whole thing would have been really kind of cool to see. And I think would have added a lot to the story and made it feel more science fiction. And again, I know this is more speculative than science fiction, but still would have been nice to see.
Yeah, I agree.
So there were a number of characters. I think, who was the last one that was introduced? But after a certain point, I'm just like, another one? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But kind of the three main people, we have Ray. Well, I guess technically four. Ray, Sasha, Ava, and then Ellis. So of those characters, were there any, or was there a particular one that you kind of felt more invested in their story or felt a kinship towards?
I think I related the most to Ava. I have an older sister who is the perfect child, the one who is ambitious, who is just so smart and knows everything. And I'll say something to my parents and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's nice." And then Latney will say the same thing and they're like, "Oh wow, you're so smart." And I'm like, "I just said the same thing, but whatever." And being the youngest child, that's always been like the woes of having older siblings. So I think I related to that as well. And related to like kind of Ava having an artsy side, but also like not really knowing where that fell in, you know, in her life and how that, you know, related to her life. And then the dog, I always love when there's dogs in books. And love that, you know, PJ went on the whole ordeal with her and everything. But I also just really fell for her because I felt like she was, I mean, essentially left alone. She lost her grandmother, who was essentially her mother figure, and then her sister was, you know, really nowhere to be found. And I think she was just like had this deep childlike need to just have somebody. And so I think I related to that a lot. So I would say that she was probably the character I was most invested in. And then I do feel like I saw a little bit of myself in Ellis, only just in like the idea of feeling like I want to be remembered for something, and you know, I want to be seen as successful, and I want to be, you know, she didn't want to be rich, she didn't want to be famous, she just wanted to be known. And I feel like I could attach to that a little bit. But then also at one point she said something about like she's truly like feels affection towards and is attracted to and gravitates towards intelligence. And I feel like that's always been like, that has always been me. Like I want to surround myself with intelligent people because I feel like it makes me a more intelligent person. So I could appreciate that about her. So I would say the two of them, but definitely Ava for sure. It was probably who I would relate to the most.
I am right there with you. Those are the two people that I feel like I related to the most as well. I think not so much their experiences, but with Ava, she definitely did seem like very intelligent and a little bit socially awkward, which I wholeheartedly relate to. Like social interactions they can be very painful for me sometimes and very taxing as far as like my social battery. And I loved how quirky she was. Like when she would tell people what PJ stood for, that I thought was just so funny. And then, what was it? When they were in the truck or getting in the truck with Donna, she was like the bartender, or she like worked at the bar and she was going to take them there. Oh, Molly Brown, because her truck was named Molly Brown. And so Ava's like the unsinkable. And Donna's like, you get to sit in the front because you got that, you know, you got that. And so I don't know, that was kind of cool. I relate to that so much.
Yeah, she's very quirky.
Yes. Yes. And then I think Ellis, more so like I kind of aspire to be like that. I aspire to be a trailblazer and to like do good and do great things. So yeah, they were definitely my two favorite. I didn't care too much about Sasha's story.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I definitely, as somebody who is engaged and planning a wedding in a couple months, there was like a little bit, sometimes when I like hear other people's story, then I'm like, oh my gosh, what if that happens to me? You know, and then like I have those intrusive thoughts of like, oh my gosh, is this my reality? And so, yeah, like I think that side of me felt for her. But as far as just like, I didn't feel like I could get emotionally invested in her and what she was going through. Just because I feel like she kind of felt like I felt like she was not originally a character that was thought of to be in that group. You know, like I could definitely see Nikki Erlick being like, oh, I need another person in this group, and like creating her after the fact. But she definitely doesn't seem like somebody that was organically in the story. Like, you know, like I'm sure some authors just like they picture a story and all of the characters just kind of like come to them. I could definitely see Sasha being like the one that's like, well, I need somebody else, or I need another female or something like that. She definitely didn't seem to fit in the story like the rest of them, but she didn't like annoy me or feel like a character that didn't make sense or didn't need to be there like Sky did.
Right. Do you feel like you maybe judged her a little bit because of like the negative feelings that she had and like the cold feet that she had towards Dean leading up to their wedding?
No, I don't think so, because I think I don't know. I feel like if you don't have some of those thoughts, then
Mhm.
there's then like I feel like that's probably, I feel like that's something that people probably don't talk about very much, but I feel like everybody has those thoughts at one point. But I did relate to how she's like, well, I had this thought and then he died.
Mhm.
And like I've spent years trying to undo that in my anxious, panicky brain,
Mhm.
of like those associations.
Yeah.
And so that part I definitely could relate to. But I
Mhm.
also wouldn't be surprised if part of me kind of like emotionally closed off from Sasha and her character because of how much internal work I've had to do to undo a lot of that.
Mhm.
Um, but I definitely, yeah, I think that that's probably what happened, that I subconsciously wasn't letting myself go there. Um, but I don't think I was judging her as much as I feel like I was judging everybody around her and like her parents. I remember thinking like that her parents just, it's like everybody was like, "Oh, you're not grieving enough."
Mhm.
And then they were like, "Well, now you're grieving too much and it's been too long and you should be over him by now." And so I do feel like I was judging a lot of the people around, honestly, most of the characters and
Mhm.
what they were saying about, how people were responding to their grief. Um,
Mhm.
like Ray's brother, I mean, he was so affected by somebody that he didn't even know and he just experienced while he was a firefighter. And it's like you just never know how something is going to affect you. You never know what's going to snap. And with trauma, I mean, it could be anything.
Mhm.
And, Ray's brother was in situations like that for years, but for whatever reason, that one child is, kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And
Mhm.
that's not for anybody else to have to understand. I mean, nobody has to understand it. It's
Mhm.
not it's not their thing to understand. But I think as humans, because we care about people, we want to try to understand.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that was more, I don't think I was judging them. I think I was judging the people around them as
Yeah.
they were trying to grieve.
Yeah. Yeah, that brings up a good point about like the different types of grief that these different characters have experienced.
Yeah.
Um, and I know Ava, like she obviously was not going to the poppy fields for grief. She was going there to reconnect with her sister.
Mhm.
But I do feel like she did have grief that she dealt with. I mean, obviously losing her grandma, losing her parents, when
Mhm.
she was so young, but then also losing that connection with her sister, feeling abandoned, having to deal with the loss of their grandmother on her own.
Mhm.
So like there's hers. Sasha, of course, feeling the guilt of losing her fiance. Well, one, losing her fiance, and then also having the guilt of losing him, thinking like, did my negative thoughts being put into the universe cause
Right.
this?
Yeah.
And then Ray, obviously losing his brother, but then also Johnny, Ray's brother, his experience. And I think because we saw his interview, and it talked about how he's like, I know you don't usually, have PTSD survivors, come for this, but it's like, yes, he experienced the loss of that little boy, but also, I mean, it talked about the ride in the ambulance and listening to his mother just like
Mhm.
scream and cry and sob because her baby was lost. Like it's just such a variety
Yeah.
of grief that people experience. And like
Mhm. Well,
I
and I feel like a piece of Johnny's grief too was like what he was saying about like a child should be able to go out in their front yard and, throw a basketball around.
yeah,
It's like you spend so many years shielding your child from all of these things and the horrors of our world, and
mhm,
they should be able to, play with the ball in the front yard, and it's like they're not even safe there. And I feel like that he was almost grieving that like innocence or
yeah,
that, thought of like you're not safe anywhere.
yeah, that's a great point. Did you cry at all in this book? No. Okay.
No, I almost did when there was a transcript of an elderly man who was married to his wife for like since they were teenagers,
Mhm.
and like how he always said they always said that like, he always said, you like, I need to go before you, or and they would like talk about that. I almost did, because that's the type of thing that gets me. But no, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either. I think probably the most emotional that I got was Johnny's story about the little boy, just because, like, as a mom, especially to a little
Mhm.
boy who is 10 years old,
Yeah.
like, just trying to imagine myself in her shoes, like, I can't even go there, you know?
Yeah.
So, um, so if the poppy fields was a true place, that was an option for us, do you think that you would ever apply? And then if
Sign me up.
accepted, would you go? Yeah, yeah, you would?
Yeah, I think I would. Like I said, that's a coping skill for me. And I mean any big trauma in my life,
Mhm,
I sleep for days.
mhm,
And I have to be aware of it. I have to let myself sleep and then like, all right, we gotta get up and we gotta move on.
mhm,
Um, but that's always been a way that I heal from sickness, from trauma, from grief, from like everything.
mhm,
And it's always been something like if my sleep is affected, I am not a happy camper. Like I need a certain amount of sleep. And I don't say that to be like a diva or prima donna. It's just that like physically I know what my body needs and I know what my mind needs to
mhm.
be at its healthiest. Um, so yeah, absolutely, sign me up. I do think there's aspects, of things like how do I make sure my bills are paid? How do I make sure that my dogs are taken care of, that my fiance is okay with it, that my parents don't need me, so there's definitely like those things. But I mean, outside of those things, yeah, I'd go tomorrow.
Mhm,
Um, but I definitely see why people do it. And I mean, if it's able to help people, then why not try it? And
mhm.
sure, there's side effects, but there's side effects to, I mean, everything.
Everything,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, like, I mean, the alternative for grief is they give you like, and which doctors do when people are grieving, they give them something to sleep,
Mhm,
especially those first couple of days. And I mean, there's side effects to everything. Most of them are reversible. And
mhm,
I wonder if the side effect in the book is reversible because I feel like a lot of times things like that fade. I
mhm,
also wonder something that I would be interested in with the poppy fields is recidivism, like how many people come back, and would they allow that? Would they allow you to come back?
mhm,
Or if you apply again, say I lose, a sibling and I go and sleep, and then I lose a parent a year later, would I be able to go back and sleep? Or am I treated as a whole new patient? So some of those things I would have been interested to learn about and
mhm.
to like study. But yeah, I mean, my initial reaction is yes, I would.
Yeah. That's something I didn't even think about, like, return patients. One, if that is allowed, but, like, what the possible effects are, like,
Yeah, like doing it multiple times.
yeah, and, like, how that changes you as a person. Um, and then also on the flip side, and maybe this is something that would have only been able to come up if we got to see a lot more time, because I think in the book, the poppy fields had only been open for, like, 3 years or something.
Mhm.
It wasn't super long, I don't think. Uh,
Yeah.
but if they did eventually discover a way to, um, reactivate those feelings, like if there's some kind of
Mhm.
hypnotism or deep therapy of some kind where people could end up rediscovering those feelings that they lost as a
Yeah.
se
Yeah, which I mean, like, that's totally something that happens is, like, hypnosis to recover
Mhm,
memories and stuff like that, that your mind is suppressed from trauma, which, I
mhm,
mean, that's essentially what's happening is the memories don't go away, your mind is just repressing them, and that's what that side effect is, and so
mhm,
I'm sure there's gotta be a way to reverse it.
mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the sequel.
Yeah. So I think for me, I don't know, honestly, if I would want to go to the poppy fields. I think potentially for, like, a really bad breakup, and I don't mean like, "Oh, I dated for 6 months and I'm devastated." I mean, like, lose a spouse. I mean, like, something you spent a long time with somebody, and they die, or less likely that they died, more likely that it was just a bad breakup, like, they abandoned you, they left you, they betrayed you, they cheated on you, something like that. I would be more likely to want to go to the poppy fields, because if that side effect were to happen to me, oh, well, good riddance.
Mhm. I
But
think
I
there's a woman like that, that was, like, cursing her husband, and then afterwards she's like, "Huh." Okay, I'm fine.
Yeah. But for like the death of a child, like trying to think of the worst grief that I would ever have to deal with, definitely death of a child. And I would not go to the poppy fields for that because I would be afraid that I would have that side effect. And I wouldn't want to lose those memories or those feelings
Yeah.
for my kids. So I don't know, possibly, depending on the grief. That one lady, I think it was a letter or something, but she was like writing to her husband, like, while I'm sleeping, remember to do this,
Mhm.
and yada
Yeah,
yada. I thought that was kind of cool. And when you kind of brought up your concerns of like, who's going to take care of my dogs? How are my
mhm,
bills going to get paid? I feel like that's probably a pretty common thing. So I kind of liked that little letter that we got to see. Because I would imagine a lot of people probably do that, and that's probably hard. I mean, it's kind of like a long distance relationship almost.
mhm.
Yes, you're making that hard decision for yourself, but it's like if you have kids or a husband or a spouse that you're leaving behind for a month or two.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess it's similar to, like, deployment when
Mhm,
you don't get to talk to the person or see them.
mhm.
Yeah.
We have a comment. Okay, so I wouldn't. It would be healthier for me to sleep a lot more than I do, but I've had stoicism trained into me from a young age.
Mm,
That's true. And then also too, and I can't remember who said this, but one of the characters brought up um having to live through it is like a pretty important aspect of overcoming your grief.
mm.
So it's like, would it affect your what's the word I'm thinking of? Oh no. I keep wanting to say elasticity, and that's not. Oh my goodness, it starts with an R. What is the word I'm thinking of?
Hmm.
Resilience.
Oh, resilience.
Yeah. Like, would it negatively affect your resilience to be able to deal with emotional heartbreak and grief down the line?
Hmm.
And that's probably another something like if we would have seen more length of time for this center and the different
Mhm.
patients, how it affected them.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we have just a couple questions left. And these ones are pretty generic. So, would you read from this author again?
I think I would, just because I really enjoyed the first book,
Mhm.
so much, and I mean, I don't mind the writing style. I feel like a lot of times for me, it's, is it a writing style that I can get on board with, and did they say or do something to piss me off? And Nikki hasn't done that yet, so I will continue to. And I
Same.
feel like she doesn't use any, like, weird writing divisive things that I don't like, like, there was no, like, monologue at the end explaining everything. There wasn't an excessive amount of, like infidelity and lying and, like it didn't have any of those things that are like a huge no-no to me. And the dog didn't die. So
Yeah, that's important. Oh my gosh, speaking of the dog, there was that cute part. I think they were like in Oklahoma or something, but it said that Ava, she like lifted him up so he could see. I highlighted that part. I'm like, that is so cute.
yeah, that's like me with my dog. Absolutely.
It's like those memes that you see, like lifting my dog up to a height that he can't normally
Oh
see.
yeah, showing my dog things he's never seen, like the top of the refrigerator. Yep.
So cute. I can't do that with mine. He's a little big. Um, might give The Measure another try, but probably not. Yeah. Speaking of The Measure, did you catch I don't know if it would be an Easter egg, but there was
No,
something mentioned that I'm like, ooh,
really?
yeah.
Huh.
Um, I think I highlighted it. Let me see real quick. I did start out tabbing quite a bit,
Oh, wow.
but then towards the end I didn't. Um, ooh, this was something that I did highlight that I wanted to bring up. So when Donna and Sasha are talking, Donna said something. I remember my mother saying once, "Death anoints all sinners as saints." I've heard that so many times. It never clicked to me what that meant. But then she said, you read any eulogy or obituary and you'd think that anyone who ever died was perfect. And I'm like, that is so true. Because like you never, it's always like they lit up any room they walked into, and it's not like, well, they were a massive bitch and not many people liked them. So like, I don't know, that was kind of funny. So it was just interesting to see different, not only different aspects of grief or different types of grief, but talking so much about people who have passed.
Yeah, it's like you see the positives after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, or that's all that you remember.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because when people pass away, all we remember is the positive. But about ourselves, somebody could say 5 nice things to us and 1 negative thing, and the negative thing is what we remember over the 5 positive things. But then when we pass away, everybody's going to remember those 5 positive things and not the negative thing. So we need to give ourselves more grace, I think, because people aren't going to remember those negative things when we're gone.
Yeah. Okay, so this was at the beginning of chapter 47. Who is talking? Oh, Sky. This came from Sky, of course. She's like, she was like in this Greek mythology class. She's like, I remember learning about the Fates, these 3 powerful women who gave every human a length of string that measured how long they would live after their string.
I do remember that now that you said that. Yes, I do remember that.
That was kind of cool. So I'm like, was that on purpose? Was that a coincidence?
Yes, I do remember that. I was folding laundry and listening to it. Maybe that's why. Sometimes when I just listen to things and I don't have the physical book, sometimes things just kind of
just kind of breeze over and you're like, okay.
Yeah. I don't think deeply enough about them.
Yeah. So would I read from this author again? I think no. I think after 2 tries not being impressed, I think I'm done. I think I just not a fan of her writing style. I like more action. I like more I don't want to say grit, because if a book's too gritty, I'm just like, ugh, I don't like it. But I want more to happen. I like a little bit more suspense. And I'm not super into character driven stories. So it's like I have to feel for the characters and I have to fall for a character, whether it's like as a friend or like, oh my gosh, I'm in love now. But that just didn't happen with any of these characters for me. And I was kind of bored. That's the other thing too. Like I liked the concept, and I also liked the concept of the measure, but it just didn't live up to the potential that I saw in it.
Yeah. So yeah, I will say that it took me a long time to read this book. Like I've been reading it most of the month.
Oh,
and
really?
it felt a little bit like not a chore, but it was just like, oh, I guess I should read more in this. I should listen to some of this.
Yeah.
So I did have to actively like remind myself to read it and to pick it back up.
Yeah. So were there any book, and I asked this one at the end of every live show, but for people who either liked this book or maybe didn't like it and you have maybe better recommendations, are there any books, movies, shows, or games that you would recommend?
Well, if you like books about grief, I have not read it, but it's on my shelf. Or maybe I DNF'd it because I don't like books about grief. But there's a book, the Forgotten Something of Clover, Forgotten Regrets, The Regrets of Clover. I've heard that one is really good as far as grief. It's about a death doula. I personally don't really. What?
Isn't that like Gwen's all-time favorite book?
I think so, yeah. They actually, the publisher sent it to me like without even saying anything. It just showed up at my door, which I was super grateful. But I don't really like grief stories, and especially having elderly parents and a mother with a chronic illness. I don't know. I'm not there. Not there. Don't need that in my brain. Don't need to think about that. So, but I've heard that one's really good for grief. If you like road trip stories, I really like He Started It by Samantha Downing. It's kind of a like similar premise. You have multiple people getting together and doing this road trip, and they don't really know where or why they're going. And they just, some of like the quirky little small town places that they stopped. It just kind of reminded me of that a little bit. That is a thriller. But yeah, that aspect of it, that was the first thing I thought of. And I really liked that, that road trip book. And then the other thing I was thinking was the book by Ian Reid that's about the yes, yes. That one I feel like would also, you know, when you're talking about grief and dealing with grief, I think that one could possibly be something that someone would like more than this, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to bring up We Spread. I haven't read it, but
it's good. I cried in that one. That one I did cry a lot.
Yeah, just everything that I've heard about it, I was like, it's probably safe to say that that would be a good recommendation. I honestly, I had such a hard time, and I'm still. I mean, to be totally transparent, y'all, I finished this book about 20 minutes before the live show, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to think about it, but I still can't really think of anything in any like aspect. I mean, the story, this is not a recommendation. This is just, it reminded me of it. But Ray's story, being a firefighter, talking about you know, his relationship with the people at the fire station, because it's like that's your family. It's your family, honestly. And his brother, it reminded me of the show Rescue Me, which I can't stand that show, but my fiance watches it like literally every year. It's like one of his comfort shows. So I've involuntarily seen it numerous times, and that's all it made me think of. And then the Ellis side of things, so being like a very ambitious person in like some kind of science field, it kind of made me think of oh gosh, what is it called? It was a past book club pick, Glass Houses. Not at all related in any way. That one was much more sci-fi, but it kind of made me think of that. Other than that, like I have no idea. So let's see if there's another. Okay. I've enjoyed Samantha Downing's books before, so I'll look into that one. I think that one is one that I heard the worst reviews for, so I've been afraid to try it.
It has a little bit of an ambiguous ending. It's one of those where it's like something happens and then the book ends. And it's kind of up to you to decide what happens. Like it kind of like it leaves a pretty intense cliffhanger. I love that though. But so does We Spread. We Spread kind of does too.
Really?
So, a little bit.
I think I hate that.
Did you watch Shutter Island?
Is that the one with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah.
It's been a long time. I remember what happens, but
yeah. I
remember
feel like a lot of times I love things like that where it's like at the end you're like, is he crazy? Are they crazy? Who's crazy? Who's telling the truth?
Yeah.
I love that. And Shutter Island was like the first movie I watched that had that. And I was like, I need to have this feeling again where I don't actually know what's happening and I get to decide what happens. And in my mind, what happened is right. And my, you know, like what I think happened is absolutely what happened. Right. And so I like that. Or like Verity. I feel like that's usually the main one. Yeah. Right now, all of my coworkers are reading Verity since the movie's coming out next year. So they're all reading it so that we can all go and see it together. Cause we did that for, what's the other one that with Blake Lively?
Something about us. Ends with us.
Yeah. Ends with us. Yeah. We all read the book and then went and watched the movie. So we're going to do that with Verity. And they're all like just so aggravated with the ending. But I'm like, I love it. I love stuff like that.
Oh my gosh. That's
so
kind of
if you don't mind an ambiguous ending, but yeah, some people have literally said that they like threw the book across the room, or people are like, oh, it's the only book I've ever actually gotten angry with. But when people tell me that, it makes me want to read it. I'm like, I want to know why you're so viscerally angry at a book.
Yeah. See, I think with movies, I'm more okay with that because it's such a short time to like invest into something. Whereas a book, it's like, it takes a few days, a few weeks, depending. So I think I'm more upset about when a book does that. But I hated Verity, but not for the ending. I hated Verity because I hated Verity. Like she was a horrible person.
Or was she? Was she a horrible person, or was she made out to seem like a horrible person?
That's true. So I guess the side, because isn't it like manuscript, or what's the other one?
The letter or the manuscript.
I think I can't remember. My review says it, but I think I'm team manuscript. I'm pretty sure. Does that align with me hating Verity?
Yes.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm
I think
team
so.
manuscript.
It's been years since I read it. I need to reread it before the movie comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's been a couple years for me too. And that was the first Colleen Hoover that I ever read.
Mm.
So I think I'll probably maybe eventually read Layla, just because isn't there like ghosts or something paranormal in that
Yeah.
one? Okay.
I like Layla more than Verity.
Really?
Yeah, it is paranormal.
Okay. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'll probably give that one a try. But any other like of her romances, I read It Ends With Us, but I'm probably gonna stop there. I don't want any of her other romance books.
Yeah,
Romance.
I've read the ones at this point that I feel like I'm interested in, and I probably won't read more.
Yeah. Oh, I read Shutter Island before watching the movie, so I didn't know.
Mm.
Oh, so
Yeah.
the book maybe and see that's the thing is for me, if I'm again, movies are okay, but with books, it's like, well, okay. So the thing with Verity, I feel like it's not unknown. It's just you think it's one way, but then at the end, it's like you decide.
Mhm.
But I think with other books that maybe have ambiguous endings, it's like you don't know. And that's what I don't like. It's like I don't like not knowing and expecting to find an answer by the end because I like to have the answers. I like to figure it out. Um, and then when that doesn't happen, I'm like, not only did I not have a clue what was happening the entire book, now it ends and I still don't have a clue. That's what I hate.
Mhm. Well, then maybe don't read He Started It by Samantha Downing. Maybe stay away from that one.
Yes. Can't deal with Colleen Hoover for so many reasons, but she can't make up her own mind about Verity. Yeah.
That's true, yeah, and I will also say don't read the extra chapter, like the new, like, extended chapter or whatever that was in the new limited edition. It just leaves more questions.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like Colleen Hoover doesn't even know. She can't even make up her own mind. Yep, you're exactly right. Yeah, I'm so mad that I read that extra chapter. I
I
wish
don't
I
rem
never had.
I don't know if I did or not. I don't remember. I'm gonna guess I didn't because I don't even know what you're talking about. But I do remember like hearing about it coming out. I don't think I went there. So
Yeah.
I'll stay away from it. Okay, so whoopsies. Any final thoughts? And then what did you end up rating it?
No, I mean, I appreciate you having me on here. I feel like I kind of invited myself. I feel like I should say that too. I was like, "Hey, sci-fi book that I wanna read. You
No,
wanna
I
do
love
this with
that. Like
me?"
this worked out
Because
perfectly.
I loved The Measure so much, and I was like, "Do I like sci-fi?" And then I read some others, and I was like, "I don't know if I like sci-fi," but I like some of those magical realism elements of things that could actually happen, that could
Mhm.
actually make sense. Um, so I was like really excited, and I was like, "Ooh, a sci-fi book I'm interested in. Let's discuss it." But I kind of feel bad because I really don't feel like there was that much sci-fi or even magical realism. Like, yeah, it was a little bit speculative, but it very, I mean, seems like something that could very much happen at any point. So I don't know. But yeah, overall, I mean, I'm glad I read it.
Mhm.
I do think I went into it with too high of expectations.
Mhm.
I don't think it's something that I'll like recommend to a bunch of people, but I am going to give it 3 stars.
Okay.
Yeah, because I see how this book has an audience and I see how people are going to enjoy it.
Mhm.
It just wasn't really what I thought, and it just, you know, it was kind of average to me.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I also gave this one a 3. So I liked it better than The Measure. I mean, I wouldn't say that it wasn't sci-fi enough. I mean, I think, I'm pretty lenient though, especially with the book club selections. It's like, oh, there's a little piece that's sci-fi, it qualifies. So no, don't feel better about that
Yeah,
at
that's
all.
the sci-fi that I like.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I like to have a variety of picks because I think of all the genres, sci-fi is probably the one that people are most nervous about trying.
Mhm,
So, but no, I definitely thought that there was enough sci-fi, uh, at least I don't want to say content because I think it could have been a lot more, but a lot, plenty of sci-fi idea
mhm.
behind. it just didn't deliver what it
Yeah.
should have. And that's, I think, just on the author. So yeah, I think it had missed potential. But overall, I did like it more than The Measure. The Measure, I don't know. I was so bored. Wasn't there like, I just read it earlier this year too, and I don't really remember a whole lot about it, but there were like a lot of politics, or like one of the people focused on was a politician, and then there was a lot
Yeah.
of like
Yeah, which I typically don't like in books. So
Mhm,
I feel like that character is the one that I remember the least.
mhm.
But like I said, I think what I appreciate about that is that she wasn't like she didn't have an agenda that she was pushing.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. That's usually where I go away from politics in books, is that there's almost always an agenda.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I think I liked that I think I initially said that this book felt more sci-fi than The Measure, but now I'm not so sure because I feel like um there was a lot more discussion to the effects of like these strings and like the discrimination that people face, like, oh, you have a short string so you don't qualify for this, or like I think I remember something about health coverage or health benefits being different or more expensive because you're
Mhm.
not, or
Yeah,
not being accepted to a job or some kind of program because, oh,
right.
we can't invest a lot of time into you because you have a short string.
Right, yeah, or we're gonna have to pay out your life insurance policy or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
maybe that one is more sci-fi, I don't know. So but yeah,
Yeah, I think that this one didn't go deep enough into that stuff like I
yeah,
was expecting it would. It was
yeah.
more these are 3 people's or 4 people's experience trying
Mhm,
to get to the poppy fields and reap the benefits of it,
mhm.
but there wasn't really a whole lot of discussion on a macro level of the
Yeah,
benefits.
yeah, yeah. Or just like the science behind it in general, like how does it work? How did it come about? Like that's all stuff
Mhm.
that I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Definitely. Um, I did read that extra chapter, it kind of makes sense, but it was still crazy. Yeah, I must have missed it because I don't have any idea.
You didn't miss much. I
Was it from the point of view of the guy, the husband, or am I crazy?
think so, yeah.
Okay. I really appreciate the confirmation that this book didn't go a good direction for me, and I made the right decision to DNF.
Well,
Yeah,
we
thank
appreciate you coming and discussing anyway.
Yes, definitely. Oh my gosh, she's a Libronaut star. She always comes and provides her insight, so I appreciate
I
you.
love that.
So, alrighty. Well, that was the poppy fields. Thank you again, Layna, for joining me, reading along with
For
me,
having me.
being a co-host. So yeah, next month, like I mentioned, we're doing a buddy read month. So there is no live show. This is actually for both November and December. And depending on how it goes, I might sprinkle these in throughout next year as well. Um, Along with actually having live shows. But yeah, so next month, no live show. Be sure to join us on Fable. I did move all book club discussions to Fable, although I don't like the Fable update at all. I kind of hate it, honestly. And I hope enough people complain that they switch it back
Mm.
because it just, I don't know, it's kind of ugly and it's not user friendly or as user friendly as it was.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, join us on Fable for all the discussions, provide your insight. Whoa. I did a poll on Libronauts Book Club Instagram. It was this book. Oh gosh, something Heavens, a couple other new release. Actually, this one's very backlist, but oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called. Something about Heavens. That's gonna bother me now. And then the once and future me. But this won the poll by quite a lot. So be sure to follow us along on Instagram because if I do more polls to select the buddy raids, that's where I'll do them. But The Passengers by John Mars. This one is about self-driving vehicles and somebody hacks into them and the people inside of them are trapped and potentially it's not going to end well. So yeah, definitely follow along then.
Have you read John Mars before?
I have, yes. I've read The One was my very first by him. I loved
Mhm.
it. It was 5 stars. I like his sci-fi a lot better than his thriller because he does kind of both.
Mhm.
Um,
I think I've read the only one I've actually finished, I've DNF'd a lot, is The Good Samaritan. I think that was a thriller one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know
About like
that
a call center or something.
one. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, like a guy in a call center, he like convinces people to kill themselves instead of convincing them to not kill themselves. And yeah, that one
yes.
was pretty good. Yeah, that one's pretty good. I DNF'd the one. I
Okay.
DNF'd the movie or the show and the book.
I haven't seen the show. I still have that to watch.
It was not good. I didn't
Kinda
think it was good,
that blows my mind that you DNF the one.
but I feel like I've heard The Passengers talked about for years, so maybe
Yeah,
I should try that one.
yeah. Well, the one, the passengers, the minders, actually, I think technically the minders comes first. They're
Mm.
not it's not like a series, but they're kind of related, and if you read some of the newer ones, it'll talk about stuff that happened in the older ones. So, yeah, the one, the minders, the passengers, the Marriage Act, which was actually the very first Libronauts book club book selection, and then oh, what is his newest one? It's the one about, like, AI kids or, like, virtual reality, like, you can raise a baby in
Oh,
VR,
hmm,
and there's, like it's like a reality show setting. It was pretty good.
hmm.
I can't remember what it's called. Oh, The Family Project or something like that. No, The Family Experiment, that's what it was called.
Oh,
I think that's the newest.
hmm.
I'm pretty sure, so but if you didn't like the one, I don't think you'd like any of his other sci-fi because very
Yeah.
similar vibe, and like I said, they kinda all take place in the same world, so yeah, so oh, there's one more comment. I read the one, I liked elements of it, but had a lot of problems with it.
I
Okay.
don't want too many characters, and I think that was one of my main problems with it. There's too many people to follow.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of characters, which I usually don't like, but it was okay for me in that one. Granted, I did read it not a long time ago, but it was, like, at the beginning of my Bookstagram,
Mhm.
hobby, and so I feel like I was a little more lenient with books back then. Um,
I know. I feel like sometimes the book community, as much as I love it, sometimes it's like ruined me for some things. Like
wow.
how I pick books and how I rate them and stuff, I feel like is definitely affected.
Yeah. No, that's very true. So, and this year I've been a little bit slower with books, and I think that's been very much needed
Mhm.
because I was just, like, over consuming books, and I think I was getting burnt out on it.
Absolutely. Yep, I
So,
feel it.
yeah. So, alrighty. Well, thank you everyone who watched live, who's watching this later. I definitely appreciate you guys. Be sure to check out Layna's links in the description below. I will have a link to her Bookstagram and her BookTube channel. So be sure to follow her if you don't already. And I will see you guys around, hopefully on Fable next month for the passengers. Bye.
Bye.